series, what went wrong, what we can get better, how I can improve.
What's happening, everybody? Hope everybody had a good day, a good week. You know what? It's been eventful. It's been crazy. It's been wild. It's been It hasn't been really all of that. It hasn't been that good for the Knicks. I'm sorry. I want to get us hyped, but you know what? We not playing like that. I want us to get
everything. What are you talking about? It's been everything.
No, it's been something, all right. What's going on, y'all? We back at it again. Now that is actually truth. We are the talk of the town, John.
That's
we are something. What's going on, bro? How you doing?
We're the talk of the town. I'm good, man. Thank you for having me once again. Of course, as always a pleasure being here.
Yeah.
Shout outs to our main guy, Jose, holding it down on the ones and twos. What's going on, my bro?
Man.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
Man. Thank you as always, Jose, for holding us down. John, I appreciate you, bro. It's always fun to do this with you. We had another eventful week. Not all good stuff to talk about, but some stuff did happen, right. And we got to look at it. We got to look at the positives. Let's dig. We got to dig real deep in there, and then we'll pull out the positives.
Yeah,
we got to dig real deep.
Real deep, down into the soil, down to Mother Earth, all the way deep, deep into the
core. Real deep, way down there, man. Because this Knicks team is stressful, bro. I gotta, I already had my physical this year, but I might have to get another one, because I don't know how my heart is. It might be ticking a little crazy.
Hey, you ain't lying, man. Because the season started out as bing bong, and now we're like, we up it up. You know what?
Hey. Hello. Yeah, man. This season has been for the birds, B. But you know what? It's still a long season. It's not over. We're not even at the halfway point. So let me not be the typical Knicks fan and fall off the cliff. We got to know the ledge. Let's not fall off the cliff. Okay?
The ledge. That's right. You already know. Know the ledge. That's my motto.
Right,
you gotta know where we be.
There you go. There you go. Listen, before we go any further, before we take this any further, let's mention real quick that this show is sponsored by Urban Cowboy. You know what I mean? It's designed for the lived experience. You know what I mean? Urban Cowboy clothing uniquely designed for every urban trendsetter, both young and mature. And they're pretty much the only thing I can rely on these days because our Knicks basketball team has just not been consistent. But you know what is consistent? Urban Cowboy. Their clothes are there. Go get you some.
Oh, I see what you did there. Nice segue.
Thank you. Quick salute to the chat. Thank you guys for joining as always. Appreciate you. Big shout out to Geraldine McIver. You know what? She is an SKFer for life. We appreciate you. And salute to my man Tony Crow. Mr. Knicks and Bruises himself.
Yes, it is. Yes, sir. Bing bong, the Knicks is dead. No, not just yet. Not just yet. We're quarter of the way there. We ain't that bad yet.
Yeah, we're closing in on it, though. Geraldine said, Ron, I take my physical Wednesday. I was just telling my husband I'm going to take a break from this. Hey, man, you got to do what's for your own sanity. Sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes it's warranted. This is crazy out here. It's wild.
Tell it. It doesn't help the heart. That's for sure.
No, it doesn't. Well, John, we had 4 games to talk about. We got 4 games to talk about this week. And it started off promising, right? You know what?
Right.
They salute to Deron Wayne. Thank you.
Salute.
It started off okay. We went up against the San Antonio Spurs, and we were
Mm-hmm.
both thinking, "Hey, man, we got to get past this losing and right the ship." And I thought the effort against San Antonio was pretty good. What did you think?
Yeah, play a solid game, man. Like we expect to, day in and day out. This is the sort of game we want to see our Knicks team play. We were kind of popping on all cylinders. RJ was being super aggressive. He had came off of not so I would say a horrific shooting performance the couple of games before. He hasn't hit his stretch, and this game he sort of came out attacked and was aggressive, and they ran the offense to him a lot, and I like what I seen. And we played a full four quarters of solid basketball, I would say. One in a few games that we have done so this year. We usually run into a quarter or two, but I think in this game, we didn't lead the entire game, but we also weren't down so much. So we were in
Right.
the game, and it showed, especially coming into the fourth quarter where we were able to get on our run and pull out a win.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. And I thought the other good thing that happened in this game is the Knicks had a little bit of a spell where things looked pretty good for them on the defensive end and the offensive end, and they kind
Right.
of they kind of shut the Spurs down. Made it not shut them down, but made it hard for them to get into the stuff that they really like to do, which I thought was good. And the point guard that a lot of Knicks fans have been clamoring for, the DeJounte Murray, he didn't look too good against the Knicks in this game.
Yeah,
Um,
interesting.
so and
I
that's
still,
that I
although I
thought
still
that
like
that
him,
was interesting.
I,
Oh
I
no, no,
still
he's great.
enjoy
But
watching
I
him
just think
play.
it was good how the Knicks played against them. It was good how they played
Right.
against them. So I like that.
Plus, it
Um,
seemed like they weren't hitting their shots either. Like there were some. They did. I would say they took good shots. They weren't knocking them down. I think they sort of ran into what we run into a lot, where we get good looks, we don't knock them down. And
right.
I think the Spurs, that's sort of where they were at. See, they had a lot of open shots throughout this game. They just didn't hit the open shots as often as we did. And that's been our entire season, to be honest. Like we've had good looks, and for whatever reason, we can't knock them down, and then it starts to affect our defense. So we'll see. We'll see if
Yeah,
we can get
I
out of
know.
this sort of slump that we're in right now. Doesn't look
Yeah,
promising.
yeah. We definitely no, it doesn't. We definitely got to do something, man, because this team it's like pulling your hair out. I don't have hair to pull out, but it's like this is. If I did, it would be gone. Okay.
I'm right there with you, brother. We're on the same boat.
But the good thing is, they did come out. They played a pretty decent game. They of course they had their moments where they did some things that we wish they didn't, but they wound up winning the
Right.
game. And that's the key for this Nick team to go out there and try to put wins together. So it had me. I started to feel good about it. I was like, oh man, maybe they're ready to turn it around, John. I was like,
Yeah.
could this be it? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Could we be right? Uh, Wrong.
Wrong.
That wasn't the
Where's the
case.
buzzer? Where's the buzzer? We need the buzzer. Where's the buzzer? Jose, hit that buzzer.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Thank you. Yeah, that. There
That's
you
exactly
go.
how we
That's
felt.
exactly what happened. Yep. Because you think after beating the Spurs 121 to 109, you go up against the Indiana Pacers, who we match up pretty well with them, and we've had good games against them. Only for them to smack us around, man. They took it to us. I mean,
Yeah. That right
it's like
there,
they were
that
waiting for
that
this
one
game.
that first clip where Sabonis drives it from one side of the court to the other and just dunks it. That was that it's in itself was what the game was basically. It was tough to see. It was tough to watch. This was a tough one. And it
Yeah,
wasn't like they did
yeah,
anything special or anything different. They ran the same sets that they run all the time. They don't, we again we fell behind early and we didn't make any run. You know what I mean? They were up big, they were up often, and they were knocking down shots, and we were missing. We were missing a lot of open
yeah.
shots.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, man. It was just horrible. Like I don't understand, what they were doing here against these Indiana Pacers, um, and maybe what can happen in the future is the Knicks will say, you know what, why don't we try to play the same basketball game each time we play somebody rather than seeing a different set of Nick principles out there, different Nick defense, different Nick offense. Can we just stay consistent?
And we did some shuffling around the lineup too, which wasn't probably the best approach. I know everyone's calling for changes, but the changes that were made were changes that not everybody was actually asking for. I don't think anyone was asking for Tosh to be in the starting lineup, to be honest with you. And I understand that he has his strengths, and I understand that he is a veteran. But as we all Knicks fans understand, he is a guy we want on our team because of his history in the NBA, because of his professionalism, his understanding of the game. He is a player coach now, and that's all he needs to be for this team. If we're stuck with injuries, then of course you play the guy. But as of right now, we shouldn't be expecting him to run, you know, 24 minutes a game, 25 minutes a game. That shouldn't be his role with this Knicks team. He should be filling in the gaps when we need him. Instead, we had him starting.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I wish I knew. I wish I knew what was the right answer for this team. Like, I think the coach he's got like his hands tied behind his back. It's like I don't know what to do anymore. Like every lineup I try to put out there, there's some issue. They're to me their biggest issue is that 3-point scheme that they have. That 3-point defense is horrific, man. I don't care. Look, I don't know whatever worked for Tibbs last year. This team is different. I think he's got to tweak some stuff, man. This is not right. Watching these guys have wide open shots, they're just missing them.
Well, I'll tell you defensively what I'm seeing that's a little bit different is that not every player is guarding their man one man on man, right? They're doubling down on certain individual players, right? And there are teams that have multiple threats out on the court at the same time. And for whatever reason, we don't like that matchup and we pull a guard off of a 3-point shooter just to double down on either a guy who's either driving on to the hole or someone on the post. And that leads to a rotation that you can't catch up to, right? Especially because the
Right.
ball moves faster than the man. So if the opposing team is making the extra pass to a shooter, we're stuck dragging our feet and trying to get between two, either a guard and a wing in between, as a defense. And right now, other teams are hitting those shots. Those are the shots that the Spurs, fortunately enough for us, missed. They missed a lot of those open shots, and we, on the other hand, have been caught in the middle. And ourselves, when we run into defensive lapses against us, we can't knock down our shots, and so we're sort of playing from behind a lot, and that's unfortunate. And if we're in the game, right, we're either playing behind the first quarter or we're losing the third quarter so much so that we're now trailing or losing a big lead, and that doesn't work for us. Not this Knicks team.
Yeah, I agree with you, bro. This is like it's a revolving cycle of bad basketball play.
Yeah.
To quality jumpers points, he says you will continue to get diminished returns starting older vets. The body does not recover. Yeah. I
It's a
mean,
great
it
statement.
definitely looks like that's what we're dealing with right now. It definitely looks like we're dealing with that right now.
Right.
Um,
But what do you say to a guy like Julius Randle, who is only 27 or just turned 27? Does he have older legs now? I mean, like he's part of the issue when he's not giving you the effort that you need on both ends. So what do you say to a guy like that? Like he's not an older vet. I could say that for Rose, who you could see at moments in time he'll run into sort of a wall, or maybe even Taj, but you can't say that for for a lot of these guys. You can't say that about Quick. You can't say that about Burks. Burks is only 27 himself, right? Burks isn't an old player. So
True.
Evan is 31 maybe, but Evan, I could see that a wall for Evan, but Evan's never really been a defensive threat. He's tried. I mean, he's come across some games where he had 4, 5 steals. So for those who say he don't play no lick of defense, I understand he ain't the best laterally, but he gets out there and tries, and there'll be some games that he'll come up big defensively. He's just not going to be that guy. He's not a guy who can stop anyone one-on-one. And sort of that is where we get caught up in the rotation, where a guy can't defend
Right.
his man, and then you have to rotate. That rotate allows for so many other opportunities for other teams to catch the open man. And that's where we get caught at. So um listen, we got a lot to fix, and Tibbs has to figure it out. I mean, that's why we brought him here. And it's not just for the culture shift, it's for him to coach the team up and figure out what rotation is going to work best. And if that means sit a couple of older team players, you know what I mean? Older veteran players, then so be it. Let's see what we got with some of these young guys. But at the end of the day, if we don't, or we see those young guys, us as Knicks fans, if they don't do well, we can't automatically ship them out and say, "Oh, that's it. He's not good enough. Why did we spend our second round draft pick on such and such?" You know what I mean? Because that's usually what happens.
Right. Right. Yeah, and I understand what you're saying, Kanal. I know a lot of people, and salute to you. I know a lot of people just are not happy with what Julius Randle is right now for this team, and I get it. I'm just looking at the team differently because I've been saying that I don't. When Julius Randle does something bad on defense or doesn't hustle, doesn't give that effort, I can point to him and say, I can see what you're doing wrong. When
Right.
he throws a bad pass or he seems slow when the double team comes to him and his reaction is not where it needs to be and he misses opportunities, I can point to that. But the other side of it is Randall should not be holding the ball as much as he is. And Tibbs wants that because for whatever reason, he feels like Randall may play better that way, or he doesn't trust any of the other guys outside of the point guards. But even Randall holds the ball sometimes more than a point guard, does. Like that is the biggest thing to me. This team not having that floor general and putting Randall in a position where he is not set up to win. He's set up to fail like that. He just his timing and his I don't know if it's his motor skills, whatever it is, he's just a step slow. Okay, he could be a great NBA player, can do all types of things that are fantastic, but when it comes to making decisions, he's just a step slow. That's just how he is. So you can't. That's not the type of guy you want to be your floor general. He's not the type of guy you want trying to pinpoint, hit guys in stride, and take advantage of these opportunities. He just doesn't have that coordination. That you got to have the timing. He doesn't have that, and this is why this team is messing up, and it's also making him look worse.
Which is
Yesterday's game was
interesting
it
because
yesterday's
this
game?
was him. Yes, he was good last year. So that's an
Right.
interesting take that we have of him this year because last year he didn't make all these mistakes. He made the mistakes when he was under Fizdale, and everybody was like, "God, get the ball away from him. He's fumbling the ball. He's spinning into the defense, and his turnover rate is high." That was everything we were saying the year before last year. Remember, we came into last year
Facts.
thinking like he wasn't going to be our number one. Everyone was saying we need to get Randall out of here while his stock is high, and so on and so forth. Like the word was out last year, early in the season. Then we got going. Then we got some chemistry early with some of our defensive players like Bullock and Payton, and they were we caught other teams by surprise, right? because they didn't expect us to come out prepared and ready. But this team was prepared and ready last year, right? Defensively, specifically, right? And we were in shape, right? I think we were in shape, and I think we're prepared. We just don't have the same skill sets anymore. We went a different direction. And this is the direction that I was on board with, to be honest with you, because in my sense of it is like, okay, you may not get a young Kemba, but Kemba could still score. And he's proven that he can still score, right? But that wasn't the end all be all. The end all be all on our end was the defensive side. And we've seen how that struggle continued throughout the early part of this season. And we've seen us falling behind. However, there were games that we weren't down 20 when we had Kemba in our starting rotation. We've been down 20 a couple of times without Kemba on this rotation. So what is that saying to us? We don't come out with strong starts. So it's like it's a give and take, right? So for me, it's really about the way RJ and Randall have played this year, more so than what Kemba brought to the table or what Fournier is bringing to the table. Because to be honest, people are saying, well, we're paying Evan Fournier enough money for, like, as if he's a 2, like he's a second scoring threat. Okay, granted, that's a good argument. But the reality is, and the writing on the wall was that Barrett was supposed to be our number 2. Barrett is our number 2. Randall is our number 1. Let's stop going. Oh, he's 20-something. Stop with that. Stop with that. He's 3 years in the league. We expect him to be the number. We expected him to step it up with this roster. And maybe they've played him a little bit out of position. But you mean to tell me switching to a small forward spot from a 2 guard is that much different? Come on, son. It ain't that much different. It's about the same. Hey, man. It's the same, dog. Like, when we play, you have to switch regardless. When you play league ball, you switching regardless. So you got to defend the man that you switch off of. You're never going to guard a point guard all the time. You're never going to guard a shooting guard all the time. If you played any league, professional or non-professional basketball, you're going to switch. So you got to defend who you're defending. So take that aside. Now, who's defending you, depending on who's on the pick and roll? Are they utilizing RJ in the pick and roll enough? Probably not. Right? Is the ball directly in Randall's hand? Yes. And you're seeing that he's making mistakes. That's on Tibbs to make adjustments. He hasn't made those adjustments. He's made adjustments from time to time. Sometimes they look good. Sometimes they look poor. It's inconsistent. And I think Knicks fans are running amok because we're so inconsistent this year.
Yeah. Well, listen, I agree with you. On the defensive side of it, him playing the 3 is not that big of a deal. The issue is we're so poor on the perimeter that he's playing the 3, and it's almost like he's got to worry about the 2 as well. But that aside, I don't think that's the real issue I have with RJ playing the 3. The issue I have for RJ playing the 3 is that he's going up against taller players at the 3 on the other end when he's on offense. And because RJ is kind of slow, he's not as explosive vertically as he used to be. At least he hasn't showed it this year compared to previous year, because I was watching some old RJ video the other day, and RJ was getting up and boofing it. And he's not really doing as much as that right now. And I think a lot of that also has to do with the guys who are playing him are taller, and they're giving him problems. I mean, he got his shot blocked by Wade from Cleveland. Big Wade.
Give me 3 examples. Give me 3 examples. Three examples of him of who he's up against that he has a height difference. Because he's 6'6", right? 6'7".
Apparently he's 6'7", 6'7" or so. You know, that's what they say.
Yeah. So if he's 6'6", let's say he's 6'6".
Well, remember, he's 6'7" and not vertical, because he's not as explosive vertically as he was before. So it's a detriment to him now.
But we're not asking him to leap and block shots. We're asking him to stay grounded and stay in front of your guy. So, okay.
Right. But you're still thinking about the defensive end. I'm talking about offense. That's what's affecting him. The defense, okay, I'm not worried about him on defense. You know, on the other side. Yeah. Not his defense. He could guard anybody. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. That could be true. I mean, again, but it's all dependent on how they use him. again, are they putting them
Right.
on pick and rolls? Is he slashing to the rim? There's no back cuts. This offense, as much as everybody wants to say, or some people are saying, I don't want to say everybody, but some people call it a motion offense, right? If you're running a motion offense, there should be back cuts. There should be, slip and pops. There should be a couple of different things happening all at once because it's a motion. That is not what's really happening here. It's sort of a quasi offensive scheme that's that resolves around Randall. Basically, Randall is the point forward, and they set a screen or two, and then they run that little what is that handoff, and then it gets back to that one player, sort of in a pick and roll situation or in an isolation. And Randall's usually doing an ISO. So you're giving up valuable minutes, like trying to disguise something that isn't a real disguise because no one else is moving. It's just the players that are involved in that little motion.
That's
you know what I mean? So it's just like, who's running the offense? Because if it's Tibbs, he's failing. I'll tell you that. If it's Tibbs running this offensive scheme, he's failing at it. And I don't think that's supposed to be his MO. And I don't think he would want to take on that MO. I think he's leaving that to someone else on his roster. But I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not in the mix. So, but it just seems odd to me that you're supposedly running this offensive scheme that's considered to be your motion, but no one else is moving. It's just the three people in that little set. It doesn't make sense.
You know what? I mean that what you're saying is that holds true. I believe what you're saying, because when you look at it, I don't know what's going on. And I do think it's a motion offense, John, because when I look at their offense, it makes me sick. Like I reach for my Dramamine. So it's definitely got to be motion.
Well, I know. Don't for me, it's more emotion. An emotional roller coaster is what it is.
Salute once again to the chat. Delano Steele, Shaw Powers, Jose Astorga says, "Can I be a moderator on your channel? I'm your biggest fan." You know what, buddy? Something about you.
Whenever,
I like you.
Anytime.
You know what? Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Yeah, definitely salute to everybody. My man Soul Finger, salute. And I think I already mentioned Canal. Yeah. Oh, and my man Knicks 100. Knicks 100 said he got a new cup. Yeah, man. Listen, some people got Dolce & Gabbana, Burberry, Louis Vuitton. Nah, I got Knicks, baby, swagging on them. You know how we do.
That's what's up.
Anyway, Canal said, "I hope the Knicks don't add another PG and just allow Deuce to play. Grimes as well. Let the younger players play and consolidate the old." Yeah, listen. Look, if we're not going anywhere and if we're playing like this, there's no direction, we're not making any moves. I do think we're going to make a move. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but if we're not going to make moves anytime soon, sometimes you got to look at what you got out there, man. Make some changes. Let somebody like you're definitely starting to see that some of these young players can help the team. So, which you know what that brings me to the next game, which wasn't a good game either, but we played better against them than we played against Indiana, which was against the Toronto Raptors. I thought this was circled on my calendar as a revenge game for the Knicks, man, because last time we played them, we lost, and I thought for sure the Knicks was going to win this.
We played but I
was wrong, bro. Again. They played better. They played better.
Yeah. But again, we were down early. And we had to make that leap and try to make that comeback, and that's hard enough to make a comeback.
Yeah, like you can't. We already have been saying how bad these third quarters have been. You can't go down big in the first quarter and help to try to fight your way back into it in the game, because that takes a lot out of your team. Even I know when I used to play my boy in 2K. This dude used to go up by 15 to 20 on me in the first quarter. And I'm like, nah, I ain't worried about this dude. I'm going to come back. You know how hard it was for me to come back in that game? And it's not like he was missing all this. It's a video game. It was hard for me to come back. And I rarely ever came back and took the lead. He always kind of held on. That's why I said, you know what? As long as I don't let him get out to that big lead in the first quarter, I got a chance. And that's what the
You
Knicks,
got a
they got to
shot.
take my 2K experience, use that.
Hey, that's just general, right? That's in general. You can't ever go down too big, you know, and you want to be able to like be in the mix in the game, at least within striking distance. You know what I mean? If you're within striking distance, you have an opportunity to win a game. And that's been the biggest hurdle this year. Last year we were in every game because we kept it close. We weren't gonna outscore teams. We knew that. But what we were gonna do is make it as hard as possible for that team to score. And that was primarily because of Peyton and Bullock. You know, it shows that we missed their defensive effort, right? It's actually showing, right? But not only that, we also are noticing Randall not taking ownership of being the number one, right? Him not being the willing scorer that he was the year before. He's more like the willing passer and is overthinking everything on the court. And that's unfortunate because he's a better player going downhill. He's a better player going downhill, you know, a better player getting the ball, making a decision and going. He shouldn't be holding the
Right.
ball, waiting for people for teammates to move or run a set. He needs to be actively a part of an offense that's going to be moving or allowing him to have space so he can dominate his one-on-one. You know, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, that isn't the case this year. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's an offensive shift because I see a lot of what we're doing is predicated on the three. That's not what we were doing last year. Last year, we were getting up to our spots. We get into a set. If we got into one, it was usually a pick and roll with Peyton or a pick and roll with Randall and Bullock, and it was a
Right.
pick and pock or pick and screen. And we have very simple sets, and it was more effective than we are today. You know what I mean? And right now, Randall's in between because he's not sure if he needs to pass or go, and he needs to be able to see that and make those decisions. And I think that's what Coach Tibbs is asking him to do, trying to figure it out. And he keeps asking all his players to be that. You know, let the game come to you. Let the game make you see the decision you need to make on the court, whether you pass or you shoot. But some guys aren't seeing it on the court. So now what do? You can't just leave them to their own recognizance because we're losing. So now you have to draw up plays, but you can't draw up a play every time down the court. So you have to
Right.
run the set. But you got to run the set with guys who can see what's happening. And if it ain't going to be Barrett or Randall, who's going to step up? And that's why we're all asking for a trade right now. Everyone's calling for a trade because it's not when no one's seeing what we need to be seeing on the court.
Yeah, yeah, man, that is a fact. That's definitely what's going on. Like it's so frustrating because and the biggest part that frustrates me sometimes, I'm mad that Randall is going through this, to be honest with you, because I feel like Randall's a better player than this. I feel like the fact and don't get me wrong, some of the stuff that the criticism for the fans is deserved. But I just feel
Right.
bad for him because I'm telling you, this front office, and I'm not going to say the front office is horrible because I appreciate this front office compared to front offices we've had in the past. Do
Right.
I think they made all the right moves? No. Do I think they dropped the ball when it was a chance to go for DeRozan? Yes. I don't really care about Lonzo Ball. That's just
Right.
me. I don't care because Lonzo Ball is not a penetrator. He can pass the ball here.
Right.
He has good court vision, but he don't break people down off the dribble. That's not his game. That's why he stays out there in the perimeter. So to me, that's
Right.
not the type of guy the Knicks need. So I was okay with that. But DeRozan, they should have went out for. And regardless of DeRozan, you mean to tell me all these point guards that are out there in the league, even a guy who I don't really want, but he would probably help this team, um, Goran Dragic. You telling me the Knicks couldn't have figured out a way to go get Goran? He's not even happy in this
Right.
situation. I don't think they even want him over there. Like, come on, man. Like, the Knicks just didn't do enough due diligence when it came to filling this point guard position. And now they're suffering from, now they get the criticism because they deserve it. They just didn't do what they needed to do.
I I
And
just think
so,
that they felt like they made the right decision, to be honest. I felt like when they brought in the Kemba and Evan, they felt like that was what we needed. To be honest, in my opinion, I felt like that was what they felt was our need. They looked at the analytics. They noticed that we were poor shooting from the 3-point range, and we needed some guys who can fill the buckets up and score from the 3-point range, shoot a high percentage from 3-point range, can get their own shot when they need to, and that's what we went after, and we got that. Unfortunately, they're not playing well enough to be in the system that we're running for whatever reason. Maybe it's the collab, maybe it's the rotation that they're in. Maybe they don't work well with Randall. Maybe it just doesn't mesh. But we've seen it for, I want to say, 20 games, right? Maybe less, because Kemba wasn't. Kemba got 20 games in, right, before they made the decision.
Yeah, 20 games.
So
Yeah.
you got the 20 games. We've seen it for 20 games. It didn't work well. But I think these guys in the front office, they did their best. They seen what they seen. They try to make it as good as they could. They didn't want to spend a lot of money, because I'm guessing they feel like they want to be flexible in case a trade opens up and there's an opportunity to get a big name. Right now, there is some flexibility there, depending on who we can make a trade for. Again, who's to say that we can't make a move for someone that we may not even see right now? Maybe it's a 3-team deal that involves someone we're not even thinking about that comes here, except for, like, in combination with a Ben Simmons or someone else, or a Dame Lillard. We don't know. We have to wait and see. So for me, I'm kind of like sitting back. I want to see what comes of this. If nothing comes of it, and we're 40 games in and we're in a losing streak, play the young kids, because then that's our new direction. We got to go young and play who we have on our roster. But if it's not that and we make some moves, hey, let's see it. I want to see them make moves that will either fit Randall, and if it doesn't fit Randall, ship Randall out and get some value for him, because it doesn't make sense to build the team with him on it that isn't going to be a contending playoff team, right? He's 27. His window is going to be 4 to 5 years max, right? So you got to get guys who are kind of in that same window. If you don't, you're wasting his time. You're wasting our time as Knicks fans, because now we're caught in between. So either we're going to go fully young or we're not. And I'm waiting to see what they do, because if they don't show up and they don't prove to us that they're willing to make big moves in this market, then they're not the right front office people to have. You know what I mean? And then at that point, everyone's going to call for Jim Dolan to step in and make some noise.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to. I don't think I want to see Jim Dolan.
Some are saying that right now, though, right? Like, there are people who are awful. Like, they want him gone already. They want Tibbs gone,
right?
Because they feel like he could be. He's the reason why we're losing. I personally wanted Tibbs here. So, I mean, for all those who say, "Oh, I wanted Monty Williams," is all right, cool. It's all great, But who knew that Monty Williams was going to be that guy, right? Like, who really knew? Like, for me, my choices were Mark Jackson and Tibbs, because they're New York guys. They come from the same sort of culture. You know what I mean? I wanted that back. I wanted that 80s, 90s feel again. I wanted the culture shift again. I wanted people to respect the Garden again. I wanted the players to be held accountable. I didn't know what I was going to get from Monty Williams. You know what I mean? I'm not that much of an NBA guy to know that he was a bench coach for whomever he was and that he was the guy. Like, who knew that? Like, come on, son. Like, really?
I mean, listen,
really?
Man. Hey, what can I tell you? Hey, what can I say?
Monty Williams, who played the bench role for the Knicks, really?
Yeah, listen, stranger things, man. We see what he's doing now, but
I know. But then at the same case, you say Herb Williams would have been a great coach,
or Patrick Ewing.
Son. Come on, son. Like, come on. Like, really? Like, everybody who'll be like, "Yo, this guy was the pick." Come on, son. Stop. Like, no one knew about them like that.
You know who I did want? Atkinson. I wanted Atkinson from day one.
I could agree with that, because Atkinson did really well with the Nets, right? That was the guy, right? Atkinson was with the Nets, and he had nobody. So I could see that. That's proven. That's a kind of a track record that you can go by. Monty Williams, what was his track record?
Wait, every time you say a track record that's proven, you make me think of Blue Magic, man. You always bring me back. Like still Knick fans. It's a brand.
That's right.
I can stand by that. That's what I'm telling you, man.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Exactly.
so salute once again to the chat. Oh, just checking in with y'all. Peace, Real King. See you out there. I think I saw another name that I haven't seen. I see a couple names. I've Saint was that V? Then listen, my Roman numerals is messed up. Don't judge me. I'm sorry, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you for jumping in here. Who else? Hebrew Lion Judah. Yo, salute.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you for watching, man. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, man. But and Hewlett Samuel, aka Wadadi, my dude. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thanks for tuning in.
And
Thanks for
of
tuning
course,
in, for sure.
Geraldine wants Tibbs out of here. Like the next bus smoking. Get him out of here.
Geraldine wanted Tibbs out of here once they gave him the job. To be honest, like
I
he didn't want
you,
him to begin
Geraldine. I
with.
know.
So it is what it is. Not everybody's going to be
Yeah,
happy with that
man.
move. Not everybody's going to be happy with anyone we bring in. To be honest,
This is true. It's tough because there's all for every person that comes into this Knicks system, whatever it is, the whole organization, there's going to be good and bad. You just hope that there's more good than bad. Last year, Tibbs did some stuff that wasn't great either, but you know what? He had he had a really good run with the team. So you go overlook that stuff, but it's always something. Like Randall did some things last year that weren't great, but then Randall had a fantastic year. So it's like we're just getting more bad than good this year. It's really it's weighing the team down, man, weighing us down.
are we though? Are we though? We were a 500 team last year. Are we though?
Until we got
Where were
busy.
we? Hold on. Where were we this time last year? If someone tells me that we were above 500 this time that last year and we had a winning record, then I could say, okay, you may have a point. But did we though?
Okay.
Did we?
No, right. This time last year, no. But you know what? I'm gonna say for last year, you hired Tibbs. Tibbs has to put a system in. It takes guys a little time to get acclimated to that system. That was last year. This year, you know the system.
I'm not gonna buy that.
It happens everywhere.
But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. They made a judgment call. It didn't work, right? What do you do next? It's what you do next, right? Is really why it's important that they make a move. Yeah, sure.
I got something for that. I always point to it. Miami Heat, man, the big three. That first month or so of the season, the whole month, that team stunk. With LeBron, Wade, and Bosh.
Right.
So, like, sometimes it takes a minute for things to work. Now, that's not the Knicks issue now. The Knicks are devoid of talent. Right. We got guys on our team that miss wide open shots. So that tells me that either they're not as talented as I thought, because if you're missing wide open shots, I mean, dudes hit shots in practice. You telling me just
but who's missing them?
Real game, you can't hit it?
Hold on. Who's missing them? Can't point to only Evan. Can't only point to Evan. Who's missing them?
It's everybody.
That's
Evan,
what I'm saying.
RJ, take your pick.
But who are the 1 and 2? That's what I'm saying. Who are the 1 and 2? Right? People want to argue all day about, we need to get Evan out of here. Bro, Julius and RJ are not consistent this year. Their shooting has not been consistent this year. When you look at quickly, his shooting hasn't been consistent this year. As much as everybody loves to give credit where credit is due, his shot isn't as consistent as it was the year before. So what are we talking about, guys? Like, come on. Like, let's stop with the extra. Like, we super extra. You know what I mean? And then for me, it's like, either guys are good for a system or they're not. Okay, granted, they may not be good for the system. They may not look good in this system right now that we're running. So let's hope that the front office makes a move. And if they don't, let's hold them accountable and say, you need to be gone because you're not helping this team out. You're not making a move. Because if you feel like this is the end all be all, we definitely ain't going to be playoff bound every year. And the plan was to be playoff bound every year before we even make a championship run. It was well talked about. You know what I mean? When we brought in Tibbs, his whole strategy is, I want to build a team that can be playoff bound every year. consistently.
Right.
And then after we do that, we can start talking about a championship. But our guys feel like, Knicks fans feel like, if we make a move and we play every young player, we're gonna be better than we are now. That's an opinion. It may not
Well,
happen.
you know what,
It
John?
could happen. It may
I
not
got to
happen.
tell you, listen, I feel personally that right now, if we did play some of our young players, we would be better because I think that our young players are
Right?
playing better than our vets. It's not about should they play because they're young. It's about some of these guys are balling better than our vets. For example, our next
Sample
game was
size.
the
Sample size. Sample size.
sample size.
The one
Sample
game.
size. Listen, it's not even about the one game. You gave Obi 23 minutes for the first time this year. He had 19 and 10.
25
Come
points.
on, son. Come on, son.
And that's good. That's great. But that's also showing that what? What is that showing? That's showing what? Player what? That's showing the young kids are getting what?
Are you saying player development? Are you saying that they're getting?
There you go.
I don't know. What
the
do you
kids
mean?
are. That's what I'm saying. And all the guys are saying, "Oh, you could only get that by doing what? By playing in games." Not necessarily. You learn in practice. You get better in practice. Then you can show it in the court. Now, if we were to play these kids extra minutes, let's say we play them 30, 40 minutes, who's to say that they could hold it down an extra? I mean, look at what Grimes talked about in his post game. He said it was because I put in the extra work. After practice, I put in the extra grind to make sure I got my body prepped and ready for these minutes because I may play 40 minutes. You know what I mean? But that's coming from Tibbs explaining that to him. Tibbs is saying you got to be ready because when your number's called, you need to be able to run 40 minutes, not 12 minutes or 8 minutes. You got to be able to, the long haul. He took that advice and he ran with it. Same thing when there was a conversation about RJ. RJ, your shot ain't falling. Maybe you need to get back into the gym. Listen, come on, man. That's accountability. That's saying something. To me, it's saying something because I used to play for coaches like that. If you ain't come ready to prepare it, he sat my ass down and said, you know what? Guess what? You ain't playing well. You're going to sit right next to me. Sit right here. Sit right here and look at the game. Sit right next to where Knox is sitting right now. Sit right by Knox, right next to Coach, right there, right in my back pocket. You see what he's doing? You see how he's rebounding? See how he's boxing out? See where he needs to be? That's how you learn. I mean, come on, man. These kids nowadays, they want, and these young people want everything for nothing nowadays, man. It's like you want a medal and you haven't even proven yourself. You haven't done anything, but you need a medal?
That's a fact.
Come on, man.
That's a fact.
I'm tired of it.
Listen, I agree with you, John. But all I'm saying to you is guys like Obi, guys like Grimes, who you've had to depend on because there's been so much ineptitude on the roster and you've had to throw Grimes out there. When you're doing that, you're also seeing good things that's coming from him. So in my mind, he's earning more minutes.
Absolutely.
That's that. But on the flip side, I love Deuce. But I'm not saying that I expect Deuce to be out there playing the type of minutes that Grimes is even getting because he hasn't shown us anything yet. I just want Deuce to somehow eventually be in the mix because I feel like if you look at Obi Toppin last year, Obi was horrific. I mean, okay, not horrific, but he was bad.
He had to play,
and
though.
People were.
But he also had to play.
But they were killing Obi because every time he was out there, he was doing stupid stuff or he didn't look comfortable shooting the shot. He did nothing well, and he didn't even deserve the minutes he was getting. Then you give Obi an off season. You give him the summer league. You give him, training at Westchester where he works on stuff. Now you got him playing minutes, and every other game, everybody's saying give Obi more minutes because he worked for it. I get it, and I feel the same way with regards to Grimes, Sims, and Deuce. But I think Grimes is a step ahead of those guys. I think he's showing that he can do a little bit more, and his defense that he provides on the perimeter warrants him getting some minutes because we struggle in that area. If that's the other thing, guys, and I think everybody knows this. If Kemba came in and played better defense, and if Fournier was a better defender, I don't think we wouldn't see Grimes. Okay, this is how it is.
So
it's how it is.
No brainer.
But
the reality is that people are hurt too, though. Like, think about it. Like, RJ goes down.
Well, yeah,
right. If RJ doesn't go down, we probably don't see Grimes. We most likely don't see Knox for sure. We don't see Knox. You know what I mean? But we had a few guys out, and now this is where we're at. But they have to be ready to play and ready to perform. And at the very least, you look at what Knox was able to do and Grimes, and you say, kudos to them. Congratulate them. Give them their flowers, because you know what? They're NBA ready. You could tell right now that they can play in the NBA. Now, is it for this team? Who knows? Who knows? But I wouldn't be upset if they say, hey, I'm going to ship out Grimes and a few other pieces for a marquee player, because I know what I get from a marquee player. You know what I mean? You know what you get in and day out from a Ben Simmons, regardless of what you say mentally, he may be unstable, whatever. That's besides the point. As an NBA player, that aside, you know he's going to give you 18 and 10 easy, or 16 and 10, whatever his numbers are. You know what I mean? And you know he's going to give you high assist rate, 8 assists a game at the very least. You know what you get. You know what you get from Dame. You know what I mean? Even though he's already past his prime, he's 31. He's probably on a downturn. He may got like 3 years left, and with these injuries, you never know, right? But you know what you're gonna get from Dame. He's a killer. He's you know what I mean? He's trying to get yours. He's gonna cut your throat when he's in the court. You know what I mean? He's trying to get his. So you know what you get from these guys. You even know what you get from Westbrook, as poorly as he's played this year with the Lakers. But you know what you get. You get what I'm saying? You don't really know what you get with Knox because of his inconsistency. You don't know what you get from Grimes because he's young, and you don't necessarily see enough games with him on the court yet. You know what I mean? So my thing is like, yo, let's be patient as Knicks fans. We need to be a bit patient. We're 30. Are we 30 games in yet? We're almost there. Yet. We're right there. We're 2 games away from 30 games. Like, we're right there, bro. Like, the 30 mark for me was the one. Like, you either see where your team is at. They have the stretch of games, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit, Ron, because we have a tough game against, of course, the leading Warriors who are coming up right now, right? We play the Warriors next. After that, we go into a stretch with teams that we could possibly beat. We go into a stretch where we're seeing Houston, we're seeing the Pistons. We should be like right there to win some of those games. I think we got 4 in a row with teams of that nature, or 5 in a row with teams that are beatable. We should be competitive in those games. So if we don't come out competitive in those games, then we definitely got to make a move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we do, I still think we got to make a couple of moves, but it may not be as drastic as some would think.
No, I think you're right about that, and we'll get into it in a little bit. But I'm worried about one of these games, but we'll get into it. But yeah, man, listen, I agree with you. And just before I mention what I was going to mention next, if you look at the test right here, is you got Grimes here and Fournier here. Who looks like the better player right now? Grimes, but that's because you just saw something hot from Grimes, what he just did. Who is the better player? It's Fournier, but he's not playing like it. He is much better skilled. He can shoot just as good as Grimes can shoot, but I think he has a better inside game. He can get to the basket. He's a better finisher with his layups. He got that European swag. We're not seeing it because this offensive setup that we got doesn't work for this personnel. And it's probably never going to happen. I don't know. Maybe it can happen because Fournier's going to be here for a minute because we can't trade him until like February if that's the case. So we'll see what happens between now and then. But I will tell you right now it doesn't work. Speaking of Grimes, our next game was with the Milwaukee Bucks, and instead of me putting Milwaukee Bucks highlights versus the Knicks, these are Grimes highlights because he was the only person to talk
strictly
about.
Grimes? Nah, you could talk about Knox in this game.
No, you can talk about Knox, but you ain't going to see him shooting. You're going to see Grimes shooting. That's what we got here, baby.
What he got? He had 27, right? What he
had 27. Had the rookie record for the New York Knicks in his debut.
Debut?
Yeah. In his debut. Yeah, he went out there and, he played I first started in the NBA. Efficient. He played really good, man. Yeah, he was really good. And
game.
What a lot of people liked is the fact that he was fearless. He was like, "Give me the ball. I'm gunning." He was on his John Starks, but he hit more shots. He wasn't 2 for 18. Just saying. Man,
listen,
he was definitely
he played a really good game, man. I mean, he came. He was prepared. He was mentally ready. I liked what I like most about his game is his poise. You know what I mean? He has a lot of moxie and poise when he's on the court. You know what I mean? He approaches it as he's been there before, right? It doesn't seem too big for him. So, and like you said, he's willing to chuck up them shots, man. Shoot or shoot, and he is definitely a shooter. And give him all the credit in the world. This is a great pickup by the Knicks. So who do you fault for this pick? The front office?
I mean, you got to look. Listen, I here's the thing about the front office, though. I know people are mad and upset with some of the stuff they've done. I don't have a problem with who they drafted. I just have a problem with their
Neither
free
do I.
agency. Yeah, I
Right,
like
but
who they drafted.
that's a chance you take when you think about the money, right? When you put it all into perspective, you talk about budgets and money and who you plan to bring back, who you don't plan to bring back. Does it fit the system? What do you see logistically? You know what I mean? When you talk about like the what is that called? The analytics portion of it,
Mhm.
because this game is run through business analytics, right? And those folks have a say and are in the front office nowadays. It's not like back in the day where those people were laughed at. These individuals are
Right.
part of a system now, so they take what they have to say, with some, they really they make sure that they have a seat at the table basically, and they make sure that they're listened to. And when you look at what came back, you're looking at 3-point percentages and guys who can create their own shot and people who can score off of pick and roll. And that points to guys like Evan Fournier and Kemba Walker. Regardless if Kemba Walker came off of an injury, you look at a guy like that and you say, hey, if I could get him at a certain price point, could we take a chance on him? I would say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Coming into it, you automatically look at his tenure in the NBA and you say, yeah, if his legs are under him and he's healthy, this is a win-win. It just didn't pan out that way. So be it. All right, so we move on. What's the next step? What's the next level to this story this year? You know what I mean? And that's what I'm looking forward to. Like, what's the moves that we're going to make? If we don't make any moves and we stick to what we have right now, we definitely ain't going to win enough games to become playoff bound. We definitely ain't, because we're not playing well as a team. We're not gelling. But if we make a move, 1 or 2 moves for good basketball players, it doesn't necessarily have to be a star. But if we make a move for good basketball players, there's potential there. And we should all be able to see that.
No. Yeah, I mean, look, I think this team has to kind of not go back. We can't afford to do that because we're not at that point. We can't blow it all up and go back to square one. We've got to figure out the best way to rebuild without rebuilding. Tear some things down to build them back up. Obviously, the
Right.
structure of the team is not quite what it needs to be. And I'm not saying I want to trade our young pups, but I do know that you're not going to be able to get someone of value without moving one of these
Okay.
young pieces. I don't know who it can be. It may not have to be somebody that most Knicks fans love. It could be somebody that some
Okay.
Knicks fans love, like a Mitchell Robinson. But these teams ain't stupid. They're definitely going to want something, and they don't want your scraps.
It's
And
value
you
for
only have
value,
so many
man.
draft picks. Right. You only have so many
Absolutely.
draft picks. Eventually, once you get rid of those draft picks, okay, the draft picks are out the window. You've given them your 3 number ones or whatever you've done
You
to
know what
get
the
this
problem
guy or
is?
whoever.
You know what the problem is? Fantasy sports. That's the problem. Everybody got caught up in this fantasy sports, and they trade with their friends, and then they dupe their friends into believing that their guy is better than PG-13, and so PG-13 could come in for a bag of chips and knocks, and we good. But that's not going to happen. That's not realistic. That's not going to happen. We're not going to get guys like PG-13 that come away from their hometown playing in the winning organization that the Clippers have right now. They're winning games, to come over to play with the Knicks across the entire side of the United States to play with the New York Knicks on a team that is going where. And then depending on
Right.
who they're able to keep in a move like that. Come on, man. And he's got probably a no trade clause. It's not happening. It's not happening.
Well, you know what? Before we move on to our predictions and stuff that have taken place, how about we take a quick look at one of the players that is on he's on the hot stove report right now, baby. He's everywhere. The Knicks are just it's all anybody wants to talk about now. Whether it's going to realistically happen or can happen, who knows?
Right.
And
I know who you're talking about, by the way.
Oh, do you? Who's that?
Yeah, Shannon Brown. Shannon Brown.
Mr. Monica, just one of them days, Shannon Brown.
Shannon Brown.
Yeah.
Or is it the other one? Is it Booby Gibson?
Booby.
We talk about Booby
Gibson. Remember him? Oh man, there you go.
That's Keisha Cole, right?
Yeah, Keisha Cole. Yeah, no, this is Mr. Ben Simmons. So let me just bring this up real quick. This is from last year because obviously Ben hasn't played this year. Ben Simmons' defense, his 106.1 defensive rating was tied for 4th in the NBA, and his 3.3 defensive win share is tied for 6th. He finished 5th in steals with a 1.6 per game. And with him on the court this season, the 76ers had a 107.4 defensive rating, which would have been second best in the NBA. And this was per FoxSports.com. That's last year's numbers. That's the last time we got to see Ben Simmons play in the full season. And that's the type of value that he brings. And not to mention his ability to be a great facilitator. So that being said, he can give you around 15 points a game with around 8 assists and 8 rebounds. That's usually his numbers. Do you think that fits for this New York Knicks team?
It will fit if you build around him and Randall. If you remove Randall, you're starting from square one, right? Because it's going to be either Randall's going to be kept or RJ. RJ, we already know, isn't there yet. For whatever reason, he hasn't been able to bring his game to another level this year, and which we all thought he would, me included. But if you bring in Ben and you lose Randall, you got the same thing you have now, just a little bit. You have better defense. Do you have a better orchestrator? Possibly, yeah, you could say so. But you need shooters around guys like Ben because Ben isn't a shooter. He could do everything well, but he's going to need shooters around him. And if Evan isn't hitting, if Quickly isn't on target, if RJ isn't on target, you done lost Randall. You got no one else. You don't got a 1-2 punch anymore. You know what I mean? So what does that really bring you? You have to be able to bring pieces with. Now, if you were to tell me that you get Simmons and a Turner in some sort of 3-way deal, then I say, hell yeah, you do it, because now it's a combination of the two. You know what I mean? And then you could build around those two, depending on who stays and who goes, right? I don't think Ben Simmons alone will change the Knicks situation. I think it's Ben. If you're bringing in Ben Simmons, you have to make another play, and you have to keep Randall, and so you have a 1-2 combination. You could say Robin 1, Robin 2, because I don't think either one of them are, Batman right now. They have to show that. They have to prove that. Batman would have been given to Randall last year, but he is no Batman this year. He hasn't played up to that. So you're going to get that from Ben Simmons. You're going to get the same sort of, ineffectiveness because he's not a great shooter. So he either got to get down to the paint and score on the block or run transition offense and get out in the court and run and score easy baskets with Toppin. If you're able to keep Toppin. With a move like that, you may have to get rid of somebody big. The idea that people give me these, the like I said, fantasy sports, these fake trades. It's like, come on, like you can't keep everyone on this squad if you want a guy like Ben Simmons. It's not gonna happen.
That's a fact.
Same thing with
Lillard.
It's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like you just you can't look at your team and say, hey, it looks good for my team, so I'm going to make that trade. It's unrealistic. You know what I mean? And that's why I say it may not be the trade that people are asking for, prying for as Knicks fans. It may be something completely different that we're not even looking at right now. It may be a three-team, a multiple team deal that brings us another player that we didn't see coming. Maybe it's another player and some draft picks that come for somebody, you know, or two players in a draft pick, you know, two high IQ guys or two guys who do something really well to match around or to mix with a specific individual, you know. So we'll see. I don't know.
Right.
But that's my opinion on Ben. I like him. He wouldn't be the end all be all for me.
I agree with you, and I do think that if we were to get Ben, or even because that, you know, that's not out of the realm of possibility, being able to pull in a Ben and a Miles Turner, it would have to be some type of 3-team, maybe even a 4-team trade, and a lot of pieces would be moving.
A lot of moves.
That is a fact. Yeah.
Can't expect to keep Quickly. Can't expect to keep Burks. Like, guys, you're dreaming if you could keep all these guys. You're not. It's not going to happen. There's value in picks, but not as much as y'all think. You know what I mean? Like, if it's a guaranteed number one, then absolutely. But how many guaranteed number ones are you willing to give up? You know, like I ain't, because I hated the Scott Layton era where he gave up everything. You know what I mean? Like, he was a guy playing fantasy sports with our team. You know, we gave up everyone for older guys, older players who had a window of maybe 1 or 2 years. It just didn't make no sense. He also gave the bag to Allen Houston. A huge bag.
Hey, man, Allen was a good person. Okay,
he was a great shooter.
Good person. Great shooter. He was a good person. He deserved $100 million. He was a good person.
Hey, listen, I'm a good person. Where's my 100?
I deserve it too. Yeah, I think you're a good person. And if you get it, I just want to be, like, you know, around.
You know what I mean? Me too. If you get it, I want to just
you know what I mean? Come on, man. I just want to be around, you know? Yeah, man, look, it is what it is, bro. I if they can bring Ben Simmons in, I'll be okay with it. I worry about his mental and his diva style antics. But if he can kind of control that, and if he can somehow coexist on a team in New York City, all right. I don't see it, but, you know, if it can happen, fine. Yeah,
listen,
man. But
things like that become manageable. Things like that become manageable depending on the expectation of a player, right? A player could come, have a bad situation, and learn from their experience with that bad situation. And then if they get into a new position, new system, they'll figure out, all right, cool. I see what went wrong with this organization. I see where I went left. Maybe I should have handled this differently. And now you get a new start at life, at just as a career. You know what I mean? You get a new start. And sometimes that works for players. I'm not going to say all the time, because there are very few who just don't learn from their mistakes. But I think Ben is smart enough. I think he's got good people around him. He understands. He was a first-round draft pick. He has a lot on his shoulders. If he makes a transition to, if it ain't the Knicks, if it's with another team, I think he'll figure it out. You know what I mean? He's a talent. You know, some would say one once in a lifetime sort of talent. I mean, he is 6'11", could run the court. Reminds a lot of people of Giannis. You know what I mean? Everybody forgets, for that frame, you're 6'11". He could only get stronger. You know what I mean? And Antetokounmpo is basically, you know, shows everyone that if you improve year to year, you can become an MVP type player. And Ben Simmons already has the attribute as he could see the court. You know what I mean? He dribbles well. He runs the court really well. He's a good finisher at the rim. He needs to work on his free throw shooting and his jump shot. You know what I mean? And at some point, he'll figure it out.
Yeah.
When he figures it out, it's going to be a problem.
I agree. And that's the one thing that's got me thinking, like, man, you know, I would like to be that team that has Ben Simmons when he figures it out. Like, if that, you know, that's what kind of keeps this whole thing in the mix for me. But all right, look, it is what it is. But you know, I think we probably spent enough time on this. There's going to be plenty of time for us to talk more about trade possibilities and different people that the Knicks can target. Maybe we'll do a show dedicated to more of that, you know, very soon. But right now, I think we covered what we needed to with regards to the person that is on all of our wish list as far as somebody who can come in and help us. Maybe not be the end all be all, but he's definitely a big step in the right direction, Mr. Ben
Absolutely.
Simmons. So I think it's time for us to kind of get into to what happened last week and our predictions going forward. What you think?
I'm with it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Jaws is entering the building.
Hello, gentlemen.
Oh, hello.
What's going on?
How y'all doing? How y'all been?
Good. Who
Good,
is this?
Oh, listen, I'm your biggest fan, Jose. I just hacked into your live stream and decided to interrupt y'all for a little bit, you know.
Okay. All right.
Shout out to the chat, man. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of chat. There's a lot of comments, you know.
Nice.
And
Oh, we got a phone call.
Wait, what's going on?
Someone's calling in. Someone's calling in. Uh-oh.
okay, sorry. That was my wife. She was making sure I was okay. Anyways,
Nice.
Okay. Good. Oh, good.
gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
My question is, what would you like to do first? Would you like to predict
I think
next week's or reveal last week's results?
you know what? Why don't we predict first? Because that's a change of pace. We haven't done that in a minute. Why don't we predict next week's games first, and then you can let us know how last week's predictions went. How about we do that?
Okay. It's, Ron, whatever you tell me to do, I do it. Because I'm your biggest fan.
Well, thank you, Jose, the stalker who has hacked our video stream. Appreciate you.
Hacker.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. We have 3 games this week. I believe, Ron, you went first last week.
I think I did.
Yes, sir.
All right, so it only makes sense
Ron
for Ron to
gone.
go first again this week. So go ahead, Ron.
What? John, it's on you, buddy.
You heard that. Producer
sorry.
said you go
John,
first.
sorry. It's actually you.
All right, we got Warriors at the Knicks. It's interesting because you would think that I would go with the Warriors, but for whatever reason, I have a feeling that the Knicks are going to win this one, and I'm not sure why, but I just have a weird feeling that they're going to win this one. So I'm gonna go with that gut feeling. I think we'll get 2 in a row going into that Celtics game, and then we'll lose that Celtics game. So we'll go win, loss.
Okay.
Ron,
Interesting.
it's your turn.
All right, so we got Warriors versus Knicks, Knicks versus Rockets, Knicks versus Celtics. So I'm going loss, and loss.
Yikes. Someone's really going into there.
Ye of little faith.
Just telling you.
This team stinks, man. Nah, I'm just playing. I'm playing,
trying to figure
people.
out
Come
what the chat
on,
thinks
man.
of
Knicks
your
for life,
prediction.
baby. We doing it.
I really
Let's
wanna
go,
know what the
Knicks
chat
baby.
thinks of your prediction.
life. Oh my God. Not even one. Not even the Rockets.
No. No. I actually no. I'm not. I'm joking, but I'm serious. I do think we're gonna lose all 3 of these games because the health protocols that RJ is under, Obi's under. I think especially Obi. He's our spark plug. I think he gives a lot of energy to the team. He helps the bench. I think they'll play really good. So I'm not saying they'll get blown out. I think these games will all be really good. But I think they'll lose to the Warriors. That might be a blowout, actually. Who knows?
But
But
they have
the Knicks
14
versus Rockets.
games. They got 14 days or something like that where they have to
Yeah,
stay out.
it's well, I don't know because it depends on if you actually have been in contact with somebody or if you've been infected. So that's the difference. They never say, they don't tell us anything, so we don't know. So if you've been in contact but don't have any symptoms and your tests are fine, then it's 7 days. But if you've actually been exposed and you have something, then it's the 14-day thing. So I'm gonna say they lose to the Warriors. Like I said, the Knicks will play good against the Rockets. It might come down to a close matchup, but I think the Rockets squeak by because, say for whatever you want, how bad they've been, the Rockets have been hot. And when it comes to the Celtics, I just think that we played them and we got the best of them in double OT. So it's not like we even beat them convincingly. I think they get their revenge against us this time around.
I would agree with you there with the Celtics. They're a better team than we have right now. So are the Warriors. I just feel like I don't know. There's something about that game. Seems weird. I know Steph is gonna get his, and I think he'll break the record. But I think we end up winning that game for some reason.
Unless on December 15th, the Knicks pull off a trade and bring in maybe a Marcus Smart right before the Celtic game. Then I'll say the Knicks will win. But if that don't happen, the Knicks is losing.
Right. You locking it in?
Anyway,
I'm locking mine in.
Lock it in, Jose.
And
lock
John,
it in.
What about you?
Lock it in. Lock it in.
All right, gentlemen. We are locked in. This is the prediction of this week. Hopefully the chat agrees with you. Hopefully one of you will come out victorious or not. I mean, doesn't really matter. Anyways.
Oh, and look at that. Look at the chat. The chat is alliteration, baby. Be Civilized said the Rockets just took down the Hawks tonight. Woo-hoo!
Situation.
Watch out.
Situation.
But now it's time for everybody's favorite segment, especially Ron's.
Why is it especially my favorite segment?
Because you always come out, I don't know, on the spotlight, even though you always lose. But for some reason, you always are the spotlight.
He is the spotlight.
All right. Well, listen. Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. So let's go. Let. Give me that, man. Give me that. Come on, baby. Let's go.
He wants to get those wins up.
So last week, both of you made predictions.
I think we made the same predictions.
If you haven't seen last week's episode, go check it out. It's on YouTube right now.
Shameless plug. Never stop.
Yeah, it's right there. And this week's winner is
yay!
Oh, let's go.
We did the same. Did you forget?
Unfortunately, both Ron and John had the same exact predictions for these 4 games of this week.
Did you forget?
Fortunately, out of the 4 games, you two only predicted 2 of them correctly.
2 of them, yeah,
so,
out of the 4.
With that being said,
yeah. Ooh.
Oh man, I was rocking out, baby. Let's go,
right, gentlemen.
I gotta figure out a way to get the crown right there. Just get right in there.
Here we go.
You guys did awesome.
Good job, Jose.
Yeah. Unfortunately for the Knicks this past week.
It is unfortunate.
But at least both of you came out with a crown this week.
That's what I'm talking
Anyways,
about.
Well deserved.
Take care, y'all. I'm out.
Appreciate you, Jose.
Hey,
what are you gonna do, man?
We got something to cheer about, man. We went 2 for 2. 2 for 4, actually, it's 2 for 4. We're halfway there.
What are you gonna do, man? It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Yeah, but hey, I think things are going to go in a better direction for the Knicks. I don't know if they're going to turn the season around and get back to what we saw from them last year, but I do think they will play better basketball than what we've seen. A little bit more consistent on the better basketball end. Whether that translates to wins or not, I don't know, but I expect them to be better. I expect that we're going to see a little bit more of Grimes. I expect when Obi and RJ come back, this team is going to be doing some things in a different manner. I hope. But that's what I expect.
Yeah. I
We'll see.
I don't I think we're gonna play who Tibbs plays, right? And that's what's gonna be, you know what I mean? With guys out on this COVID protocol, we're gonna probably see some of the young guys, but there's never no guarantee when it comes to Tibbs. Tibbs is gonna go with who he feels is gonna help him get the win. And if he feels like it's Burks and and it's a lineup of Burks, I don't know, Mitch, Noel, Evan, and Quickly, then that's what he's going to go with. You know what I mean? I really do hope to see Grimes play a little bit more. I hope to see Sims play a little bit more. But we'll see. We'll see how this sort of next couple of games go. I would say the next 3 to 5 games. Uh-oh. What's going on here?
Hey,
what happened? What
sorry,
happened?
Fellas. Wait a minute. Quick shout out to Knicks 100 AGM. Jose, you getting better with E-Show. You know what? For these next 3 seconds, you get the spotlight. That's what I'm talking about.
Look at my man Jose doing his thing. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Hey, go ahead, Jose.
You gotta do a cameo. Oh.
All right, gentlemen. Bye.
Jose need that
Jose's
cameo.
hilarious, man.
I love it. That was funny.
Oh man!
Before I was rudely interrupted. No.
Yeah. You were saying, John.
Man.
Brother.
I forgot my train of thought. It was probably. Oh, I know what it was. It was basically just saying that Tibbs is gonna play these guys, and I hope that the young kids get a chance. But if they don't, then they don't, and we're gonna play the same sort of basketball we've been playing until we make a move, or unless there's some sort of transition to a different sort of offense. Maybe our offensive scheme shouldn't be predicated on the three. Maybe it should be more of a drive and try to get things at the basket. Maybe we shift it up, and be in more of an attack mode than actually worrying about, the extra pass. Maybe we overload folks in the paint and get some rebounds, get some putbacks, do things like that we haven't done in more recent days. So I'm hoping for a shift of somehow us playing better, but I guess we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah, man, I'm with you, and I'm hoping that we get Obi back, fast, and we get this guy back, and we need this guy to start playing better basketball, man, because this team is going nowhere right now. If he steps it up, we might have a chance to at least get back into a playoff type, team. Because right now we out, B. We are out. So.
Hey, listen, man. I said 52. I'm feeling really bad about that 52 prediction right now because there's no way in God's grace that we get to 52 if we played the way we've been playing. So let's hope that we shift that around.
If we get 45 plus wins with the way this season has been, I'll be happy. If we can get 45 plus.
Isn't that what you predicted? You predicted 48?
No, I predicted 50 Burger B, 50 and 32.
You went 50. Okay, you went 50. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not looking that way right now. Anyway, let's see, man. We could turn it around. It's the first quarter of the season. There's a shot. There's still a shot.
There's still time. There's still time, guys. Still time for us to be disappointed even more. So don't you worry about it. Anyway, as always, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you. Thank you for holding down the chat. Y'all have been lighting it up. Appreciate you. Knicks 100 said they waiving the PhD player hated degrees. Shame on y'all. Listen. Hey, man, listen. But thank you guys once again. Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell and hit the bell that allows you to be notified about all content. So you see whenever we're dropping. Tell a friend to tell a friend who tells another friend. You know, you want to get that subscriber count up. You know, I didn't really care about that too much now, but we're about to go on a year of doing this, guys. So, you know, it's nice to start, you know, getting them milestones, get them subscribers up, man. Let more people know about us. We appreciate y'all. The chat is always holding us down. Our mods that we got in here, you know, some of them don't even know they mods, but they mods because I got them as mods. We appreciate y'all. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, John, you got any final words, brother?
Oh, man, peace and blessings to everyone on the chat, those that are tuning in, man, much respect, and looking forward to continue the good conversations with you.
Yeah, definitely. And once again, salute to everybody involved, and definitely thank you to our man Jose on the 1s and 2s.
Yes, sir.
My man Jose, baby. And look for us. The next time you'll see us will be on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. You're going to look for the NBA report on the Nothing But Knicks network. You know how we do. And maybe if things go well, maybe you'll see an interview with a content creator on Sunday. But I don't know yet. We'll see. But look, stay tuned because it might pop up. But thanks again for everybody. Appreciate all y'all. Let's go Knicks. We'll see you on the next one.
That's right. Let's go.